Well, you tell me when you say go, because you're recording, right?
Yeah.
Right now?
We're recording now.
Oh, okay.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Good afternoon. This is the Delaware County Interactive Gaming Revenue Authority meeting. This meeting was rescheduled from September 16th, 2021 to today's date of September 27th, 2021. I call this meeting officially to order at 2:04 p.m. Please join me in saluting the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Evans, can we have a roll call or of attendance?
Yeah, so Francis is here, Paul's here, Stefan's here, Ron's here.
Thank you.
Four for four. And
Thank you.
Frank is here.
All right, all of you should have received the agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. At this time, we will provide a public comment concerning the agenda. Hearing none, we will proceed. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the August 19th, 2021 DeSigra meeting. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any questions or comments or corrections? All those in favor, pledge by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, abstain. Minutes are approved. All right, I will make a motion to approve the August 2021 Treasurers Report that you all should have received.
I move adoption of the Treasurer's Report dated September of 2021.
Okay. Any questions, comments?
My only question is, did the actual grant checks go out the door yet?
Have not.
And what's the timeline on making that happen?
I was hoping to discuss that today.
Okay.
All right, all those in favor of the August 2021 Treasurers Report, say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain? Okay. Second item, motion to approve the September 2021 Treasurers Report, which Stefan emailed early last week, I believe.
Yes.
Okay.
So moved.
Questions or comments? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, abstain? Thank you. Motion to approve reimbursement to Stefan Roots for accounting software subscription, $79.50 for August to October 2021. Web and email services of $52.20 for a total of $131.70. Do we have a second?
Second?
Mm-hmm.
Any questions or comments?
So does this mean we'll be paying $320 a year for our accounting software? And then the $52.20, is that also for a quarter, or is it, what's the time period for the $52.20?
5220 is the annual
Oh, it's for
amount.
the year.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
That's for the web domain and the email?
and the email, yes.
Okay.
Okay, super. So for those two items for 1 year, it would be a total of $372.20. Okay,
And I think
approximately.
yes, and if I could just make a comment, I think this is just a temporary reimbursement, whereas in the future, we may be able to have these funds directly distributed through our account rather than Stefan using his personal account.
Correct.
I just want to be clear that the accounting software is a monthly fee. The first 3 months, I believe, was a 10% discount.
So it's approximately $79.50 divided by 3, but the monthly payment may vary after that discount period expires?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All those in favor of this
Aye.
motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carried. A motion to authorize Stefan Roots to acquire bank account debit card and/or establish automatic payment of web email services. Am I allowed to make an amendment to this motion, Mr. Daly?
Well, I think first we have to have a motion, and then you can move for an amendment to the motion.
Okay. Do we have a second to the motion?
Okay, second.
Can I make an amendment now,
Yes,
Mr. Daly?
Yes.
yes.
Okay. I'd like to amend this to include payment of the accounting software. Do we have approval for that?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Say this again?
So the motion is only for the web email services. However, in the previous motion, it also included accounting software. So when this accounting software subscription expires, I want to provide the authorization to Stefan to make the payments for the web/email services, as well as the accounting software subscription. So he won't have
Oh,
to do
so
it
more future.
personally.
You're
Yeah,
authorizing
I didn't add that in
payments
the
in the
original
future.
motion.
Rather than, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So do we all accept that friendly amendment? Because if so, I wanted to make a
Yeah,
comment.
The maker of the motion has to agree to accept the amendment.
I accept the amendment.
Okay.
All those,
Well, I wanted to make a comment.
Yes.
So I think that the idea of a bank debit card is not very modern. I would suggest as much as possible as we can set up automatic payments, you know, using an ACH transfer from our account to
Okay.
pay for the web email and to pay for the accounting software and to pay for any other, even the grant payments can all be made by ACH transfer going forward is really the way to do it.
okay, so I will
Because there
amend
wouldn't
my
be any
motion.
reason why Stefan would need cash. And then you have a really good accounting trail of exactly, even Stefan, you, if you incur other expenses, you could be paid ACH for them. Do you understand what I mean?
I do. So we will have to get those accounts from the people we're paying the grants to.
Yeah. We
Okay.
actually, I think, have that ACH information at the foundation.
Okay.
So can I make a comment and a question to Stefan? The accounting software, to your knowledge, and the website domain and the email, did they provide an option to pay via ACH? If you can recall. If you
Well-
can't recall, that's understandable.
Well, I paid with my debit card.
Correct. But do you know if there was an option to pay?
So we just need to reimburse you.
Yes, reimburse me for what we have listed here, and then moving forward with the accounting software, I'm pretty sure we could do ACH. I will make sure when I get home.
Okay. All right, so I make a motion to amend this motion to change it to motion to authorize Stefan Roots to establish automatic payment of web email services and accounting software subscription.
Do we have a requirement that, like, 2 signatures are required for a certain amount? Like for our $5,000 grants? Does-
All
I mean, I pictured you writing a check.
Yeah, all checks need 2 signatures, regardless of the amount.
Yeah, so if we're making ACH payments in the future, I mean, what controls do we have on that to make sure, you know, similar to the 2 signatures? I mean, is that okay if
Why don't we just do checks for those grants? And do 2 signatures. It's just easier. I think the question about a second signature is very valid, especially over a certain amount of money, 5,000 or more. We have checks, right? So we can write checks, and one person can write them all out, and another person can sit there and provide a second signature. I think
Right.
let's just agree we're going to do that.
But I think he's asking about this motion right here. You're making a question or comment about this motion concerning the ACH for the web email and the accounting software subscription. Because
these are small
that would not
doc-
require 2 signatures. It would be an automatic payment.
Well, I mean, my understanding is normally, for small amounts, you don't need 2 signatures. And so like, maybe the software falls under that. But when you get to $5,000, we want to make sure it's really going to where we want it and not to someplace we don't want it.
Right, right.
So I'm wondering, by authorizing all these ACH, are we bypassing a control that we should have in place?
Well, I don't think we are. I think the way that the motion is written is not authorizing, it's just authorizing him to establish the accounts.
For these 2
That's
purposes.
the last one.
Yeah.
And the first one
Okay.
is approving, we're just approving to reimburse him for those expenses, and then we're approving him to set up the account. We could have a separate motion that requires a second signature on all payments and checks over a certain amount of money. Can we do that
Well, we have
motion
that-
at
that's
this
a-
meeting?
that's a
Or
re-
do we have to wait till the next meeting?
I would think that one was going to require next
But
meeting.
that's a requirement now, because what Stefan said is all the checks do require a second signature.
Over
So that's already
any
estab- that's
over
already
any
established.
dollar amount or?
Any
over-
dollar amount, yes.
Yes.
Oh, well then, as long as it's a check, it's fine, okay.
Yeah, okay.
So that
Any
would
other-
include a check to me for the reimbursement.
Yes.
Right.
You'll sign it and I'll sign it. So I'll
Yeah,
sign it. Yeah,
okay.
because we've already approved the reimbursement. Okay,
No, I think we're good.
all right. Any other questions or comments on this amended motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions? Okay, thank you. Do you have any comments, just oral comments for Treasurer's Report, Steph, in general? You're not required to.
No, I just wanted to look at it one more time.
All right.
I guess the only comment I have to make is that we did get another, oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing. We did get another deposit since our last
That'd be
meeting
cool. That's,
for $50,745.20. So that's
Okay.
reflected in the September 2021 Treasurer's Report.
That was for the second quarter, correct? Because we're currently in the third quarter.
Correct.
Okay, so we'll get a third quarter payment in October,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, I thought our payment was like 54,000 or so. For the second quarter.
It's in his,
Not that it matters.
it's in his report. I think it's in his report. Yeah.
What I'll do is start including the report, the quarter in which these payments are paid for, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
that we can have that for the record.
Okay. Do you have anything else? If not, okay, thank you.
But the note that we should make is that each quarter, it's steadily increasing.
Increasing, right.
So I think we estimated maybe $120,000 annually. I would venture to guess we're closer to $200,000 as we estimate
Okay,
the way these are increasing.
okay. Yeah. All right, at this time, I'll give the solicitor an opportunity to provide a report, if he'd like to.
Yes, as a result of our lack of a quorum for the last meeting, we postponed the meeting, and with the chairman's permission, I did post on the door the required notice letting people know that we were meeting here today. Furthermore, I sent you copies of the legal notice of today's meeting. So we are meeting lawfully today. And yes, we now are putting our agenda in the back. In the future, we probably should tape it to the wall a day ahead of time, and we'll do that.
Can I interrupt for 1 second?
Sure.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I did look at the door, and there is a posting for generally all commissions and authorities that the agenda is available in the clerk's office.
Very good.
And the clerk did receive, when I sent the agenda, I did include the clerk, so they have access to it in that manner.
Perfect.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt.
It's okay. The only other matter is that the chairman asked me to due an opinion letter, which I have circulated to everyone by email. And it's essentially about whether we are required, under the way the statute is written with a bunch of ands, ands, and ands, as in A-N-D, whether we are required in a particular year to make award of grants for all of those categories. And as you can imagine, there's certainly no court cases involving this statute. It's brand new. There are no other statutes that read exactly like our statute reads. But we had to refer to the statute having to do with statutory construction, which is one of my favorite statutes. And essentially, what my opinion says is that no, we do not have to make a grant in each one of the categories each year, that we have basically a lot of discretion. The statute uses the language and other matters in the public interest, and that just, not exactly floodgates, but it does express an intention of the legislature that we should have wide discretion in what we do. So I didn't receive any comments back from the memorandum, but if anybody has any, I'd be glad to answer now.
I thought it was very clear.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you for researching that.
Absolutely.
All right, I have other matters, but they come up during the reports.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for the solicitor? All right, let's proceed on to old business. I make a motion to remove also known as Mr. Johnson's tabled motion concerning allocation of funding for emergency services from April 2021 meeting. Do I have a second to remove that motion?
Second.
Any comments or discussion? All those in favor of removing that motion?
Aye.
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 Moving on to new business, and this is a long one because I do want to provide context for our audience. Motion to create Emergency Services Outreach and Recruitment Reimbursement Fund of up to $50,000 total for expenses submitted for consideration by January 30th, 2022, but incurred in 2021, pending County Council approval. The full or partial reimbursement up to $2,500 per emergency services entity of the following defined community outreach and/or recruiting activities expenses. For example, fire prevention events and materials for the public, National Night Out and other police community outreach, citizen classes and workshops, physical product distribution, example, smoke alarms, gun locks, collection, recruitment expenses, for example, advertising, job fairs, events. Eligible entities include municipal police and fire departments, volunteer fire companies, volunteer and nonprofit emergency ambulance services, fire police, municipal town watch organizations, and Salvation Army canteen services. Do I have a second? Do I have a second to this motion?
I'm willing to second it.
Any comments or questions? Yes.
Sheriff's Office, Delaware County Sheriff's Office, would that fall under the Sheriff's Office? Would not?
I did not include them because they are not considered municipal, they are considered county.
Okay.
Yeah,
I would
and
have suggested the same thing around the Citizen Corps, which I think is an incredibly worthwhile organization, but they're a department under the county, and there's no fund to, we've talked about setting up a fund at the foundation that would augment their services, but that doesn't exist now, so they wouldn't qualify either. Can we talk a little bit about how did this, what the thinking
The
is
emphasis?
around this?
Sure.
I mean, I think it's all very worthwhile. It's just 2,500 here and there isn't really that impactful, and maybe that's okay. I'm just curious what the thinking is behind it.
Sure. So looking at our mission statement and also looking at our ordinance, despite the opinion granted by the solicitor, I felt it was important to make sure that our emergency services organizations or entities were funded this year, given the need to improve and increase community outreach by our law enforcement officials, especially among municipalities, since the grant provides for that opportunity. Also, we've had some recent deadly or dangerous fires, and also the volunteer fire companies are struggling to attract new firefighters. I felt that this was an important area that we could provide some impact, if that's the word we want to use. And I made it a small amount because when talking with some volunteer fire companies and police departments, their outreach activities tend to be small dollar amount. And I wanted to focus on those outreach activities because sometimes they're not budgeted for, and then they have to find the resources. So I thought this was a kind of a compromise or a fair way to provide some assistance to these departments and fire companies for expenses that they may not have planned to incur, or could encourage them to entertain these activities. So for example, there's going to be a lot of fire company open houses in October across the county, and this would be an incentive. This would provide some reimbursement for those expenses.
So it's reimbursement. It's not, we're giving them the money and then it's not that they apply for the money, we give it to them, and then they put the event on later. It's that they already had the event and we're reimbursing them for the expenses.
That they either had the event or will have the event in this calendar year, and then we're reimbursing them for that expense. So it's a little bit different because it's not a full grant process, which we haven't worked out the logistics for yet. So I felt that this was the easiest way to operate this.
So it would enable us to award grants to up to 20
$2,500.
organizations or more organizations if they applied for less money.
Right, so it gives us the capability to reimburse it gives us the ability to reimburse a minimum of 20 and possibly more than 20 of these emergency services entities.
Okay. Is the timeline, is January give us enough time? I mean, I suppose we can put it out there and see what the response is.
Yeah, I was figuring if they could get the receipts to us within that calendar month of January 2022, then we can reimburse them accordingly.
What is the process? Will we have a request for proposal? And
No, it's not a proposal. It would be these emergency services entities that have either had this expense
so how
or will.
do we advertise that we have this money available?
I was thinking that we do a press release through the county, possibly. And also, I do have a contact in emergency services, so I can send that person an email about this. If this is passed, I can send him an email about this, and they should be able to distribute it through all of the emergency services entities. So there's a fixed amount of emergency services entities that we know of. The nonprofit world is a little bit more vague, where I don't know if there's one conduit to send all of that information to all of the nonprofits in the county.
Well, you could probably go through the Department of Emergency Services and
Yes.
Voices team, and they, Danielle Kerner and that crew could put out the word.
Right.
But then the question becomes, okay, what is the mechanism with which they apply? Is there an actual form that they're going to fill out, and then they're going to create a PDF of the form with all the receipts? And then what's the portal, or are they just emailing it to
Our email address.
info@desigra. Is it org or com?
Org.
Or
Okay.
email, yes.
I would have them distribute their receipts along with a form that we'll create and make that available, and they would submit that form and the receipts to that email address. And it would be a first come, first served
Okay.
basis.
And then will you create like a Google Drive with all the documents in there that we can all review them, or?
I didn't get that far yet,
Okay,
to be honest.
okay,
Yeah.
it's not hard.
But thank you for the
It's an easy
logistics,
thing to do. We could all review documents on a Google Drive. You could divide them up among us, depending
Sure.
on the number that you receive.
Okay.
I want to go
Or
back
we
to
can
your,
distribute it to the email.
to your earlier point. You said many of these entities don't budget for these events.
Some of them don't,
Some of them don't.
yeah.
Okay.
Maybe I used the word many, but that could be correct.
So I guess I'm just trying to think out loud. If some of them don't budget for it, they are likely not to have these events. And
True, possibly.
if they knew there was money available, but we can't guarantee that we're going to give everybody money. So it's
Right.
I don't know if I'm looking to be fair or if I'm looking for some clarity here. You're aware that this event is being held by some of these entities, probably have already had them, and we want to be a body that helps defray
Right. So-
their expense. There's others that may want to do them, don't have the money to do it, never even knew about us. Maybe it's just a matter of how many do we know the hard number, how many of these entities there are out there that could potentially apply for this?
I don't have the number in front of me, but there are a number of municipal police departments, obviously, in the county, as well as volunteer fire companies. I have a rough number on the ambulances, and some of the other organizations, I don't have the full numbers for
So
those.
there's more than 20, more than likely.
Well, we
Oh,
have
yeah, there's 49
49
municipalities.
municipalities. and I would actually,
27 police
I think Stefan raises some very good questions, and this is not to kick the can down the road, on the contrary. I think setting up the fund is a great idea.
Okay.
I would make the suggestion that we reach out to all the groups, tell them that we're setting up this fund, but that, and that we're open for applications now, but it'll go through next year until we run out of the 50,000.
Okay. Instead of
And that
giving,
way, people can say, oh, well, I really want to do something next summer. I'll apply for the money now, and then I'll get it, and then I'll know I can do it next summer.
okay.
As opposed to, I think Stefan raises a very good point, otherwise we're really disincentivized. We're the folks who don't have the money to even think about it, you're right, they're not going to take the risk of applying, not getting it, and then they already did the event and they put the money out and they're not going to get reimbursed for it. So that gives us a little more flexibility. We're still saying it's a rolling fund, and it gives us we could decide if mid-June we've run out of the 50,000, we could replenish it, right? If we get good applications and we really like it and we think, oh, this is really making a difference, let's keep doing this, let's put another 10 in or another 20 in, then again, we may not get that many applications,
Right.
and then it gives us some time to push it out more, reach out to people, figure out how do we tweak this so it really is used. So it's still setting up the fund, but the amendment would be, let me think, up to 50,000 total for expenses submitted for consideration, but instead of by January 2022, for consideration on a rolling basis.
Okay.
So every time we have a meeting, we'll have more proposals to consider for this fund.
And that $50,000 is our number, not a number we're going to throw out to them.
Well, we could say it, why not? I mean,
We could say it's
it's on the video right
limited.
now.
It's a limited amount.
Okay.
And then after the $50,000 is exhausted, we can make another motion to create a new rolling
Right.
fund.
So on a rolling basis, with events incurred between 10/1/21 until the fund is exhausted.
I like to go back to
And I wouldn't call it
January,
reimbursement.
I'd like to go back to January 1st of this year, rather than 10/1/21.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, just to
All right.
provide some, if there was an organization,
Oh, so occurred in 2021 or planned for 2022.
Or you could do January 2021 or until fund is exhausted, or we could do starting in January 1st, 2021.
Okay? Okay, so motion to create emergency services. Ron, are you taking notes, or are we going to rely on the
Before we make the
video?
motion, our solicitor had a comment, so I just want to make sure that
Sure.
we're,
The most relevant comment is, unfortunately, all these motions have to have inherent in it and upon approval by county council.
correct.
Of course, yes.
So, I mean, it would be good to put that language in there.
It's
Okay,
in there. It says pending county council approval.
yes.
The second point's a minor one, but it seems counterintuitive when you think municipality, you think boroughs, townships, and cities. In actuality, under definition, a county is a municipality, which means the sheriff's department and the county park police would qualify for this. If you
Would
wanted
they?
them to.
Because I've been told by emergency services that they can't solicit or receive funds for Citizen Corps. What's the difference between Citizen Corps and the sheriff's department?
I don't know what Citizens Corps is. I'm just addressing the fact that a county is considered by definition a municipality.
Okay. Okay, but that doesn't
I-
change the language in the motion?
Correct.
Okay,
It just
all right, thank you.
possibly adds other organizations that you might be interested in including.
Got it. So motion to create Emergency Services Outreach and Recruitment Reimbursement Fund of up to $50,000 total for expenses submitted for consideration.
The expenses submitted, we're going to be funding them prospectively also, though.
He's saying forthcoming as well as retroactive expenses.
Okay, maybe, Ron, you can read back what you want to put in the minutes.
Do you want me to help you, Brian?
Well, this is, I mean,
I would separate it out into, instead of it being one long run-in sentence, basically what we want to do is set up a fund, $50,000, to make grants up to $2,500 on a rolling basis for expenses incurred,
Or expenses
From-
that will be incurred.
for expenses already incurred or planned to be incurred from January 2021 until the fund is exhausted. Period. Activities to be funded are defined as community outreach and/or blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, all the things you have down into the next page. And then eligible entities include period. Grants will be included on a rolling basis. Or did we already say that?
I think you said that.
Okay.
I'm working on my paper to try and put it together too. All right, I make a motion to accept the amended motion that Francis proposed.
second,
Is that proper, Mr. Dillon?
Yes.
Okay. It's been seconded?
yeah.
Okay. Any further questions or comments?
I guess I do. Physical product distribution. It just ran through my mind. Physical product distribution. You gave examples, smoke alarms, gun locks. Is a canine dog a physical distribution?
No, I don't think K9 dogs are distributed to the public.
Okay,
These are products that are distributed to the
to the
public.
public, okay,
Yeah,
clear, gotcha.
I feel you. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstentions? Comment, Mr. Daly?
No?
Oh, okay.
No.
Thought you
You're
were
looking
giving me
at it
some.
like you expected me to vote, and I'm not a voting.
No,
member.
I thought you were giving me some body language.
Oh,
We did something improper.
no, not at all.
Okay.
It's hard to see
All right,
behind
and
my
we'll
mask.
work on the logistics of this and implement it shortly.
That was was good. It was good.
Okay. Next item is discussion of I think we should still have a discussion of web services respondents to the RFP, and I'll give the floor to our solicitor for a quick comment.
Oh, they were very expensive. They were quite lengthy. People put an awful lot of time and effort into them, but you could tell that somehow we weren't targeted enough. The one that I'm most optimistic about that could meet our needs and fit our budget has to do with the one designated by the State Association of Boroughs, as well as the municipalities, the municipal authorities. The chairman gave me some language to massage, if you will, and I plan on being very direct in the solicitation, telling them what our budgetary constraints are. Based on that, I am doubtful, or I predict, and maybe I'll be surprised, that a number of those organizations will not bother to submit a proposal, but at least as a courtesy to them, they would know a little more about what we are looking for. And I think I've been given at least one more organization that works with nonprofits, I believe in Philadelphia. Perhaps they will also be able to fit it into their budget. One of our respondents quoted a price of $13,000 or $14,000, and maybe when they find out that there's less of the marketing type aspect of it, that they will fit their requirements in. This is a bid or a request for proposals for what are called professional services. And as a result of there being professional services, first off, we don't have to bid, it's just a good practice to bid. But secondly, and more importantly, we don't have to accept the lowest bidder. So we have some flexibility in this.
Any comments or questions?
Did we reject the bids, or they're still pending?
I'm sorry?
Did we reject the bids that came through?
We have not. We have not acted on them, and we probably should.
And-
Reject the proposals and authorize a re-solicitation.
Okay.
And
Does the-
modification, as you decide, but there's some suggested modification already here.
What was it called, the Municipals Authority? Are they an entity that's eligible to bid on the new?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes. They are a private entity. They just happen to be designated by those municipalities and give a cheaper rate.
Okay.
So can I make the motion to reissue the RFP with reduced scope of web creation development up to $5,000 and ongoing maintenance and as needed maintenance up to $150 an hour?
You just did. You could call for a second?
Could someone please second my motion?
I'll second that one.
My motion, not my e-motion.
You can call for the vote.
I like that song.
You can call for the vote. I'll let you do it, since you made the motion. All those in favor?
All those in favor? I don't think I can do that. I think you're supposed to do that.
Oh,
You're
I call for the vote.
chair.
All those, any other comments or discussion before we call for the vote? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, thank you. Motion carried. So the next item is just a discussion item. As you are aware, I did go to the county council agenda meeting and the county council meeting for county council approval on the 15 grants that we authorized at our meeting. Overall, the response was very positive. There was some discussion among some of the county council, or remarks or recommendations by some of the county council members, that we have a open grant process for the future. So I think starting in 2022, they want us to have a open grant process where we provide advertisement of the grant and then have the nonprofit entities submit their proposals. They were very grateful to the foundation for being the the expert in this area, this industry or sector, for our initial grants, but they do want to make it more open to all of the nonprofits in the Delaware County community. So I just wanted to make that comment. I don't know if anybody has any further questions or comments about the feedback that I got from county council during my presentations.
That's pretty consistent to our direction anyway.
Yes, yeah, because look at the emergency fund, emergency services fund, it's going to be an open process.
Right.
So I thought it was interesting when you referred to Councilwoman Schaefer, an open grant process. I was thinking open space.
Oh, no, open grant.
Got it. I misread that. Okay.
Yeah, so.
I really can read.
She and Councilperson Madden,
Yes.
they just said it was, it was great that we got these 15 and we kind of dwindled it down from a bigger list, but they want to make sure that we look at the whole nonprofit sector in the Delaware County community.
Well, so I hear that, and I think whatever our process is should be open, but I don't think there's anything wrong with us deciding on what the buckets are that we're going to support, because you are going to be part of that planning process where it's going to be determined which authorities and commissions pay for what.
Yes.
And if we become the organization that is best positioned to fund emergency services, food insecurity, youth services, whatever it is we decide in concert with that, you can say, all right, we're going to give 50,000 this, or these are going to be our 4 priorities. It's an open process, but we can decide what our priorities are.
Right, correct, yeah. So there was there was no discussion about the priorities. It was more, if we are in one of those areas, we just want to make sure that all of the nonprofits in that area have an opportunity to
Yes,
respond.
I agree,
Yeah.
100%.
Okay, thank you. And we have a little framework of a grant application process with the work that you and Doreen did earlier this year. So we'll just have to revisit that at some time.
Okay, good.
And also, that's kind of what we have in mind for the website. I think that's kind of anticipating that request.
Correct. Well, I think we may have to, yes and no, because we're trying to keep the cost down, we may have to use a more antiquated process of having grant respondents submit their proposals, such as just sending it via email. We may not have the ability to do a pre-filled form on the website just because of the expense.
Right, sure.
But the website will help to provide additional information.
Place to respond, and, yeah.
Well, like I said, they may have to respond right
With an email.
via an email
Yeah,
rather
yeah.
than a form, because it seems like it's a costly process to do it that
Submit
way.
the following with your receipts to this email address by thus and such a date, and that's it.
Right. It makes it more difficult for us to organize that information initially, but hopefully in the future, we'll be able to afford a more expanded website. Does that
Yeah,
make sense?
no, I don't have a problem with,
Yeah.
not having a form for them to just put it right on the website, but setting up our email and things like that, having the website to get a PDF form to fill out, the email back to us.
Yeah, I think we
All
could,
that stuff was anticipating what the council was kind of suggesting.
yes. Yeah, I think we may be able to put some forms up there, but I don't know if we do it, I'm not the technical expert. I think if you create a PDF form, there are some where you can edit the form,
Yes,
right?
you can
And-
make them editable. But, yes,
Download it and write whatever you want.
Yeah,
type what it
some
is.
of them you just have to write on, so we'll come to that bridge when we cross it. Okay, thank you.
But on the other hand, I'm very thankful for the help of the foundation, and I feel good about relying on them to kind
Yes.
of get us started.
there are very few other youth-serving organizations that would have applied. I don't even know what, I don't know, midget softball, I don't know. But, and keep in mind, if we really end up becoming much more sophisticated in what we're giving money out to, we may want to hire the foundation for a limited amount to have our grant-making service. You know, then you're in our whole grant-making portal. We can set aside a whole separate section that is specifically for the gaming authority. But I think this is the Emergency Services Fund is a very good, you know, canary in the coal mine. Let's see how this works. Let's see what kind of response we get. Let's see how much work it is for us. I think not getting it to be too complicated is a good idea.
Right. Good.
We want to move the money out the door. The money's there to work for the community.
Yes. All right, the next item, excuse me, I will let Ron make this motion. Do you have the agenda?
Yeah, I haven't been able to download it.
Okay.
But,
Or
yeah,
you want me to make the motion and then I'll let you comment?
Okay.
All right, I'll read the motion. Motion to amend Article 4.02 of the bylaws to provide for quarterly meetings of the board in place of monthly meetings as now provided to be considered at our October 2021 meeting. I had Ron to read the proposed new Article 4.02, but in the interest of time, all of you have received it. Essentially, it would just change the meeting times or dates from monthly to quarterly. Do we have a sec?
Quick
We have a comment
observation.
I have
from
a
the solicitor.
friendly-
We have a comment from the solicitor first, please.
I've been giving a lot of thought to this. I think we might want to consider adopting this effective January 1st, 2022. We have already advertised for our meetings for this year. And if we say effective January 1st, 2022, in our December meeting, we can then set up our annual reorganization meeting as well as our 4 quarterly meetings, although that first meeting can be at a quarterly meeting.
Okay.
It just seems cleaner to do it that way.
Okay, can I get a comment from Francis?
I want a friendly amendment to say 4.02 on the 4th line. Regular meetings of the board shall be held at least quarterly.
Yeah, was my intent too.
So that
Yeah,
would say in the last meeting of the year, the board shall adopt a meeting for the next year and such.
So we can still meet monthly, we can,
Yeah.
if we want to, I think, you know, I feel good about our need to meet monthly still. But if it comes up a point where in July we don't have a quorum, then we don't have to, by the bylaws, find
Right.
sometime in July.
I
Yeah.
like that.
I think we have a comment from the solicitor.
Have a special meeting at any time we want with 24 hours' notice. So to me, those monthly meetings would be special meetings, because I think we're only going to advertise that we are going to be meeting 4 times a year. And we can then meet on a monthly basis or any month that you wish to by putting a special notice in the newspaper. So I had heard the language or the suggestion of at least, and I thought that created a bit of an ambiguity. I think it's mandatory that we meet quarterly. It's inherent under the way the Open Meetings Act reads, that we can meet we could meet every day if we wanted to, that type of thing.
But don't we have to let people know we're meeting and issue the motions that we're going to be voting on and,
Oh, absolutely. But,
even for a special meeting?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
So
it
you're
applies-
saying don't include at least?
Yes. I'm recommending that it not include at least because it creates an ambiguity.
Then I will withdraw my friendly amendment.
Well, so then it says we meet quarterly. I mean, if in December we decide, oh, we really still need to meet monthly,
Oh,
we say our quarterly meetings are A, B, C, and D, but also we anticipate, or not even say anything like that, but then when February comes around, we say, oh, we decided to meet the third
we
Thursday in
just put an ad in
February.
the paper and we move
Yeah.
on.
Do we have to pay for those notices?
I'm sorry?
Do we have to pay for those legal notices?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't remember the expense from way back when,
The
but,
county paid for ours last year.
oh, okay.
I don't think they're going to be as generous this year, but you never know.
So, yeah, this implies that instead of making one notice for the whole year,
Right.
we're doing them,
Because we can't predict right now which of those monthly meetings we're going to have.
yeah. Well, how expensive is it to make the
I
legal notice?
can't hear.
How
How
expensive are
expensive
the
are-
ads? in
How
the
expensive
newspaper?
are they? $100?
Did you have a comment, Steph?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so the amended motion includes to be effective January 1st, 2022. Essentially, it's the same motion, but effective January 1st, 2022.
That would satisfy your solicitor, yes.
Okay. Do we have a second for this motion?
Second.
Questions or comments?
Well, I mean, my goal was to provide some flexibility, just, because we had the lack of quorum all of a sudden, and we felt the need to meet for the month due to the bylaws. I mean, do we, I guess I'm just reconsidering whether we need this or not. I mean,
Can I make a comment? I think that was a one-time situation where just schedules conflicted with that date. I think in January or February, we will have our 5th authority member. It's been vacated for a few months. County council has not appointed an interim member, but I'm expecting and assuming that they will appoint a 5th member January or February of next year, maybe sooner. So they do know that there is a vacancy. So I think most of the time we should be able to have a quorum. I think it was just one of those dates that there were just conflicts that occurred.
yeah. I mean,
And I think because of the
I
work-
still feel the kind of need to meet more or less monthly. I feel like quarterly would not be frequent enough for us,
I
at least
agree.
at this point.
Well, do you want to do it bi-monthly instead of quarterly? That's a compromise.
Every other month?
Given the scope of what's probably going to be on the table for next year.
I'm fine with saying I'm fine with having this say quarterly, but we schedule our meetings out for the year. And then we can always cancel one. That's the way I would do it, because then we all have every date on our calendar, we plan around it. But if we have to cancel a meeting, we're not violating anything because the bylaw says quarterly.
Does that align correctly, Mr. Daly?
I think that could work, yes.
We just need to do the legal notices for all the extra non-quarterly meetings.
If we cancel a meeting?
No, if we have a meeting.
If we add them in addition to quarterly.
Well, I would
Okay.
anticipate we are going to advertise that we're meeting monthly. And that if it,
Anyway.
assuming you change the bylaws to say we have to meet quarterly, there's nothing to stop us from saying we're going to meet monthly and put the ad in the beginning of the year that we're meeting monthly.
Okay, yeah.
What we'll avoid is if a particular meeting, we don't get a quorum or other reason we have to cancel, we don't have to then scramble around and reschedule a meeting
Oh,
for that
okay.
month.
I see what you're saying.
Okay,
Okay.
so we'll say we meet quarterly, but when we, presumably in December, we'll still want to meet monthly, and we'll publish that schedule.
Yes,
Right.
and we'll make sure
As
we don't have
special
Rosh
meetings.
Hashanah on it or whatever.
We don't even have to call them special
No, they're
meetings.
not called special meetings.
This is our schedule this is our meeting schedule for the year.
Even though our bylaws say we meet quarterly.
Well,
That doesn't violate the bylaws.
It's exceeding the bylaws,
It's
isn't it?
exceeding them.
at that point, you're going to laugh, but I think if we put in at least, at that point, we've covered it. I'm the
Well,
one that
that's why
said take
I
it
liked
out.
at least.
Well, I didn't realize the board really wanted to meet monthly. I
Amend the motion to add,
Okay, we're
amend the
going back
motion to
to
add
at
at
least.
least quarterly.
So now I heard what you said about the ambiguity,
Yes.
but now you're okay with the ambiguity?
Because we're putting an ad in the paper that says we're meeting every month.
Yeah,
Yes, we are doing that.
And therefore, we are complying with the at least.
Yeah, okay.
Amend the motion to add at least quarterly. Do we have a second on
Second,
that amendment?
second.
All those in favor, any other questions or comments about that amendment?
I got it.
Comment or
No,
question?
no comment, no
Okay.
question. I think we got it.
All those in favor of this motion to be considered at our October 21st, 2021 meeting?
Oh, that's right.
All
we
those in
have to
favor,
consider-
aye?
Is that because we butchered it so much? Oh, that's right, we had.
We have to make the motion
Gotcha.
and vote on it in October.
Yes.
Okay.
Has it been voted on?
Yes, it's
Okay.
been approved.
The only thing I want to mentioned to Ron, as our secretary, that you should still send out a written notice to everybody at least 15 days before the October meeting saying that this will come up, because that's what the bylaws say.
To us.
Yes.
Okay.
In other words, I don't think our discussion today qualifies as the 15 days' notice. I think Ron needs to send a very specific email that says, and before 15 days before our October meeting, on the agenda is this motion to amend our bylaws, and you're getting notice in conformity with the section 4 point whatever of the bylaws, that this will be considered at that meeting.
Okay. Is that in addition to the agenda that I send out, or would that suffice?
No, I think it is something that Ron, as the secretary, has to send out.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I was figuring my minutes would cover it, but I'll write up our minutes and then also send a specific.
It's something we should be keeping separately, because it's very serious when you amend the bylaws. And you maintain
Yes.
your paper trail on that.
Okay. In the interest of time, I want to keep moving. Thank you, everybody, for good discussion
Yes.
today. At this time, I'll open the meeting for public comment. 3, 2, 1, hearing none. We'll move on to authority comments. So this is an opportunity for any of you to comment on this meeting, if you'd like.
Great meeting. Thank you, Paul. No, I think you ran a great meeting.
Thank you.
Everybody has an opportunity for input. It's good.
Thank you. I just want to thank everybody for being open and receptive to my idea to give some support to our emergency services, even though it's not required by our amendment. I think we crafted a new proposal that's going to provide some support to bring our law enforcement and our community closer together through these outreach activities, and to also help with recruitment and fire prevention and other medical emergencies with our fire companies who are really struggling right now to recruit and retain volunteer firefighters. So I just want to thank everyone for being open and receptive to that motion. And overall, I think it was a really good meeting, so thank you, everybody. Anybody else?
Where is the county council meeting room?
Say it again?
Where is the county council meeting room? Is this it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought for some reason we had a conflict and we had to go somewhere else.
No, this is it. We are
Okay.
here.
Yes, so originally, the meeting that was scheduled was supposed to be in their conference room.
I see.
But because we rescheduled it, it's in the meeting room. So in October, we're in the meeting room, but I think another meeting, a future meeting, we're going to be in the conference room.
And we'll learn where that is at that time.
Yes.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion.
All those in favor? Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, 3:01. Not too bad.
Good job. Great job.
All right, so you're just going to write checks to these youth groups?